Hi, I'm Daniel, and it's been almost a year since my last Disney era ranking. Here I'm back and ranking the Renaissance, or Renaissance. Okay, the time period is pronounced Renaissance, but the Disney era is Renaissance. This is often referred to as the best era, and while it has good movies, I'm not sure how it's classified as great. There's some overarching problems, and they don't feel as character driven and great as some of the later movies. Also, the cop's animation looks good, but the characters always seem disconnected from the background. That being said, this still shaped the old Disney from previous films. The best films on this year are still amazing, and there's enough that works in about 8 of these. It originally took so long because I preferred to watch only one movie or video instead of multiple. But now, to help remember my thoughts and do something with the rewatches, I post reviews on Letterboxd. Need that to find out my thoughts on the movies before the video releases. Anyway, what will be the best and what will be the worst? 10. The Rescuers Down Under. Yes, this is the worst of this era, and it's out of place compared to the rest of the Renaissance. To start off with the good, the opening flying scene looks cool, the eagle is a good character for science, and the animation does work. While it is impressive for the first use of a new style, it doesn't work for Bronze Age designs. The characters from the original don't look good in this style. This is a sequel to an already weak movie, although in retrospect it should have been 6th place instead of 7th place. However, this is barely a sequel spending large portions on new characters. The rest goes on a side story that makes the movie worse. This also removes any chance of mystery on the story. The opening tells us why the kid needs saving and who the villain is. So much of the runtime is wasted, like the seagull, a love triangle and dumb characters. I hate that he is it, even given to time, and the villain is generic. This has all of that, and barely even has an ending. The last line is just a dumb joke while showing an ending for Cody. This movie isn't boring or frustrating, but it's still really bad. It gets so much wrong that few action scenes can't save it. This is easy at the bottom. 9. Pocahontas. This is the worst movie that feels like the era it's from. Disney modifying other stories that happen a lot, but it's different when it's about real people in a real event. This trying to double-side this colonialism is already a problem, but the movie can't even do that right when one-sided kill you more in the wrong. Savages is musically good, but the red versus blue contrast goes against that point. A point that shouldn't have been made to begin with. This movie can't decide tone, there's an occasional serious scene that works, but it cuts to animals and a villain that can't be taken seriously. It is boring at following the Disney formula with a poor romance story. I may criticize some more this year, but it won't be this level. To be fair in this movie, Pocahontas isn't a bad protagonist, and I could see her working in another story. The background is beautiful, and some of the songs are great. Praise of the Wind is powerful, and I can't help but appreciate Mine. This movie is good past having done better, and it tries to be serious but messes it up by lacking subtlety and storytelling. The fact that Disney wanted to win Best Picture with this is telling, because every decision is calculated. It doesn't have personality like the best films do. It's not Yas, but I see why some might put it below Rescuers Down Under. 8. Tarzan. This movie is nearly there to greatness, but is on a weird part of the list. Whether it's a lot better than the bottom 2, but a step below the top 7. The story forces message and meaning to the audience in ways all Disney doesn't do, to the same extent. Might complain about that issue with some others. It also doesn't need the part of young Tarzan to be so young, just wait for the mid-core I haven't seen. The music has the songs be voiced over, making the soundtrack all blend together. Potentially emotional and great songs are ruined by this change to the musical format. Something this movie gets right are the characters that aren't antagonists. Tarzan is a great protagonist and Jane is more developed than most female characters. The romance is contrived, but that's a staple of this era. I like Tanton, surprisingly enough Turk. I was expecting her to be annoying, but she isn't overplayed. And isn't dumb like your concrete characters are. But Tarzan's career either had a forced turnaround, and Kaiten is a boring villain. Our death scene was dark, and I like the story is more open to darker ideas. Tarzan is okay, but nothing special for all the problems I stated. The list gets good now. 7. The Little Mermaid. This started the era and shaped all these animation movies with the grand musical style. But in some ways, you can tell it doesn't have the polish for experimenting how to do it. It doesn't have the caps animation, and the old style doesn't really fit the tone. The main score and memorable songs are great like Power Your World, Under the Sea and Poor Unfortunate Souls. I'm not really a fan of the song Kiss Your Girl, but that's also remembered. Unlike some of the songs in this movie that are just there to fill out the number. The dialogue around the songs also aren't the best. And this movie can't decide if it wants to be comedic or artistic. Number 6 to 3 lean more in one direction. This has it so it doesn't do as well as it should as a comedy or story. It hasn't picked one and isn't that well balanced. With that said, this movie is still very good. Sebastian is a great character in every way. Ursula is a threatening and fun villain. In the past I didn't like Ariel, but now I admit she's quite good. However, I don't think this is a story of an abusive home life. Writing is kind of right all the time, and his bad actions he does he regrets right after. This still has many strong elements, and it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. 7 and 6 are close, but I feel like I preferred the other movie. 6. Hercules. This movie is good and a lot of fun, but doesn't properly master any category. I like all the characters, mainly Phil, who is funny and has a satisfying arc. Egg is also great. The overall style is entertaining for portraying a different story. The animation isn't typical Disney, but that works really well with the design style and general colouring. Music has used innovators fit the tone, and the music excels in Zero to Hero, I Won't Say I'm in Love and One Last Hope. The other songs are okay too. For problems, the climax doesn't work and the comedic direction is fun, but not memorable. It's definitely the Renaissance movie I had the least to say about. Another thing, the upcoming live action remake being inspired by TikTok is being over-dramatized. I don't really like or use TikTok, but I don't say that as a bad thing. 5. Aladdin. Like Hercules did, this movie chooses a comedic approach that worked for the better. The main thing keeping this yo is 3 of the 4 main characters. Aladdin is bland, and it shows that making a Disney prince protagonist isn't a good idea. If someone brings up Cusco, he's a princess who doesn't count. Jasmine is also boring as not the main character, and Jafar is a very bland villain. He wants to be Sultan, but why? What are his motivations more than wanting power and control? I don't buy that, but this movie is still your fun. The genie's references actually work and he carries the movie. The constant way of changes to things is very entertaining. The songs are also strong without there being a weak link in the soundtrack. I have some points with Aladdin, but it is a lot of fun exploring the Three Wishes story. I really like the way the climax takes things with how the villain is defeated. 4. Beauty and the Beast. This was why I didn't know what to rank, because on one side the main leads aren't that good. Belle is an overrated character who doesn't have as much personality as the movie assumes. There's also some poor dialogue that lacks subtlety for the story you're trying to tell. That also goes into some of the song lyrics. I can't get over the title song having the lines "Barely even friends, then somebody bends." What is that line writing? On that note, all the songs are great and have strong motifs. Aladdin definitely has better individual songs, but the music as a whole goes well together. This movie is an artistic masterpiece for Disney. It sets itself apart from the other early work by the opening scene, telling a story in war art with that great score. The whole mood didn't stick to that quality, but the atmosphere created is great. This also manages comedy that doesn't get in the way of the serious scenes. Like Yumia and Cogsworth are amazing in their scenes. I previously overlooked Gaston, but I really like how I went from a comedic villain to someone who should be taken seriously. This movie gets better when looking at theories on why the world is like that. It still has the points I mentioned, but this film certainly has its merit. However, Shrek is still vastly better at telling your story about how appearances don't matter, and I can't be convinced otherwise. 3. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is a large accomplishment for Disney. By taking what's artistic about Beauty and the Beast and increasing it, the attempt to tell a more serious story that acknowledges darker themes with the world really makes it stand out. Some scenes are intense and the music has an overall feel of holiness. The overarching bells music is great, and most of the songs are incredible. It comes together with a strong package with strong character animation. Even the CG ending looks great. This movie is full of symbolism and it could have been the best from Disney. However, there's a few problems like the comedy. In the first half, it is kind of funny and in place for parade and low stakes conversation scenes. However, it starts to contrast the tones the movie goes on in a major way. The climax have the 3 main characters in intense scenes. Meanwhile, are your wacky comedic battles that are out of place. Then there's the gargoyles, who almost worked and could with a few changes. Them being possibly imaginary would be interesting to look at Quasimodo's internal thoughts. The problems are they shoves off the pairing roles to the climax to show Quasimodo to be independent. They also have the annoying moments, especially a guy like you being so bad. Whenever I try to remember how the song goes, my brain resorts to playing One Last Hope from Hercules instead. This gets in the way of the great soundtrack and quality of this whole experience. This era had its problems combining comedic and serious moments, which are why the top 2 are the best for managing it. 2. Mulan. A lot of things are being criticized in this video are positives here. The different backgrounds look better in this movie's animation style. There's quite a lot of comedic psychic characters, but they actually have arcs and don't stop the movie with pointless comedy. It also helps that Mulan is a funny movie, The songs are good and have a reason to stop halfway through for a tone shift. Most Disney musicals feel like they just forgot to have songs in the third act. The balance between comedy, the serious war going on, and character moments are strong. I think the climax keeps its balance, even if the climax should have been higher stakes than it actually was. The ending is also really satisfying with her father not caring about honor and just happy she's back. The message also works for showing the pros and cons of both stereotypical gender roles, saying that not everyone fits into one. The skills to be a strong hero aren't addicted to a gender or gender roles. The message is really told. The main thing keeping this movie back is the villain. There is a place for villains with no personality or connection to the main characters, but this they need to keep cutting to him. It would have been better if we just saw the burnt village, and he only actually appeared in the avalanche. Still, the live action remake had two worse villains that messed up everything this was going for. Mulan is an amazing movie that's only beaten by one in this era. 1. The Lion King. This era had an increase in human-centered movies and a decrease in animal-centered movies. Bronze has 7 out of 8 be animal themed. If you're wondering, the black culture is the one I'm not counting. In contrast, the Renaissance had this, the rest goes down under that shouldn't be in this era, and maybe Tarzan. I bring this up because The Lion King is great at using the Renaissance formula with a different style. It's The Lion King, a movie that somehow deserves its reputation. This can blend seriousness and comedy extremely well, while having a character arc at heart. This movie is full of iconic scenes that is over half the movie. Hercules Life is an atmospheric musical start with superb cinematography, but that's not it. It follows with the iconic Mufasa and Scar scene, and the first half shows the iconic life of childhood. Some say the second half goes downhill, but I disagree. Timon and Pumbaa are great, and I think the shift from character death to Hakuna Matata works. I made a video just analysing that phrase and what it could mean. The scenes to Remember Who You Are and the final score are amazing. Simba walking up Pride Rock and doing the roar is so iconic. It's iconic for a reason. This movie isn't the best that much, but everything here is great. Scar is one of the best villains, the comedy is very funny, and Simba's arc excels. Also the songs, just the songs. I'm not really saying anything new, but to me this is the best Disney Renaissance movie, and Walt Disney Animation Studios so far. In conclusion, I stopped doing a tier list, so here's the Xbox list. And I can change that list if I think it better fits a different order. It will be linked in the description if you want to look at the full ranking. I already went through my thoughts on the era as a whole, so I don't need to recap. I might try to start the post-Renaissance close after, but it depends. It is the longest era. If you enjoyed this video, consider pressing subscribe and watching more. The end.